Paul here. Just thought it'd be kind of fun maybe to do a video recording while on my way to the dollar store, which is relatively mundane. But I thought, I'd give everybody a little bit of view of kind of the area that I live in here out in Ohio. And you'll get to see a little bit of the drive into the dollar store, which is kind of a nice drive. Actually putting together the Paulcast here, this whole idea I've been talking about, as far as a sort of a podcast type of thing, audio log, visual log, just kind of chronicling some different things, whatever's happening in my life or whatever idea I'm having at the time. You'll probably see sort of the I guess title card of this whole thing, which is really generic looking. Well, that's kind of an aesthetic decision as far as that goes. It's also because I just have no ability with that sort of thing. But it does remind me of these generic bags we used to get like back at the grocery store when I was a kid. I don't know what it's called now. They changed the name of that grocery store. Now it's still like every other week, but it was Bilo back in the day. Actually, it was Riverside originally, but it became Bilo for, most of my school career, through elementary school and high school. But we used to get these generic bags of potato chips that they were white and they had black lettering going on them. So they were actually pretty decent. You could get cereal like that, some other things. I can't remember all exactly which came in these generic bags, but I do remember the potato chips. From what I understand, you could get beer that was in those sort of white, well, they're white cans with like black letters that just said beer on them. I've never actually had an opportunity to try any generic beer like that. Part of me thinks I should. I know it'll probably taste terrible, but just for the lulz or for the experience of it, that I can say I drank this generic beer out of a white can, big letters of beer written on it. I think that'd be kind of cool. I've always wanted to try Billy beer. I imagine if you came across the can of Billy beer, though, you probably wouldn't drink it. My assumption is actually worth a lot of money, because that's what I'm thinking. Here on Center Street. This will take you to Interstate 90. Usually I don't get on at 90 right here though. I usually get on going the other direction. I'm going to turn up the heat now a little bit because it's a little bit chilly. Hopefully you can still hear me fairly well. But Mentor, it's very much a suburban area. I don't know why this guy is not in the turning lane here. That puzzles me, but you'll have that, I guess. But yeah, Mentor, there's really no what I would call a proper downtown area here. It's a lot of suburbia. There's a couple streets that have, I guess, roads that have strip malls on it. But you don't come across like what you would consider a traditional downtown area with sort of these older buildings and that's where the post office is and all of that type of stuff. So yeah, you really don't see that in Mentor. But I really like it here. I had to get a little bit out of the rat race when it came to Cleveland, and I actually, first week I worked here, apparently he's not doing okay. First week I actually worked here, a colleague of mine, we went out on an election, ran an election with her, and it was in Mentor, and I really liked Mentor. I said, well, if I'm going to stay here for any period of time, I think I'm going to move out here. It's close enough to work. It's actually really easy to get to work from here. And I don't have to deal with the craziness of living actually in Cleveland. It was kind of nice to do it for, a half a year or whatever it was I was out there. But eventually, I'm like, yeah, I have to go something a little more laid back. Because I'm a laid back kind of guy. I like the city for the culture and just the experience of that. But, when it comes to the end of the day, I want to just relax. I'm more into the laid back, kind of country living. I remember Tara, who I dated, obviously, some of you know, a couple of years ago, said that I was a country boy, and I kind of denied it at the time, but I guess at the end of the day, I really am. It reminds me a lot of Pennsylvania out here. It's just a lot flatter. See, my friends in Pennsylvania, gas is cheaper out here. That's actually more expensive right there. That gas station just passed is $1.89. It's actually a bit cheaper to go to most of the gas stations around here. Everything else is more expensive though. You have higher taxes. But you know, I mean, the areas, you know, your taxes definitely go into infrastructure. You definitely see it. Just the different things around here. Kenny, Debbie, and John came out to see me a couple months ago. We went to a concert in Cleveland. We saw Five Finger Death Punch, Papa Roach, who I was actually really impressed. I've never seen him live. I really saw any live clips of them. They were awesome. We actually got to meet Jacoby from Papa Roach, and he was a really, really cool guy, let me tell you. Not that I had a long conversation with him, but there was like no rock star vibe about him. He's just a really cool guy. And we also saw in this moment, we were outstanding. Kenny and John know Randy. Randy's actually a local boy from sort of the Indiana, Pittsburgh area. Killer player. You know, he brought us backstage. It was really cool. That's where we met Jacoby. He was actually, he told us both he and the other guitar player were using Kemper units rather than traditional tube amps. They sounded really good through the front of the house. Actually a year ago I played a gig with Chris out in Delaware. Blackhawk was playing, and guitar player Blackhawk was using a Kemper unit as well. It sounded really, really good. I don't know what particular amp he had profiled. It sounded like it might have been a Marshall or a Fender. It was a lower gain amp. But it actually sounded really, really good. I've always wanted to try one, at least even for bass. I don't know what it feels like playing a Kemper, but I've always really wanted to try one. I'm not anti-emulation. I just, some people think I am. There's a lot of really good emulators, but if you're gonna do emulation, you need to spend a few dollars for it. That's sort of my philosophy on it. You know, the Line 6 pod is not going to sound like a Mesa rectifier. It just isn't. But I've heard some really, really good stuff through emulation. Like I said, the Kemper profiling stuff, everything I've heard from it, just really, really good. But I kind of got off on a tangent there about music stuff. The gig, it was this really cool venue. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like right down on the river. And it was kind of open air. There was a tapestry over top the venue, but other than that, you know, it was a really, really cool venue. The price wasn't bad for the tickets. I can't remember what they were, like $60 or something like that. They weren't bad at all. That was a really cool night. It was just a Sunday, you know. Kenny and Debbie had the idea. I guess John joined them, decided to come down. So yeah, they stopped by and jumped in a Kenny and Debbie mobile, and we just headed on down to Cleveland. I'm actually not a big concert-going guy. I know that's kind of funny that I'm a musician. I'm not a big concert guy. I guess because I'm an introvert. Being, in crowds is not something I particularly enjoy. I don't get like panic attacks or anything like that, but I definitely prefer smaller social situations. A lot of these places are closed for New Year's, which I suppose isn't surprising. Well, with that said, we are at the dollar store, so I will talk to you later.